everyone for joining. A couple of little housekeeping notes that I'm going to share before Keith and I get really deep into the affiliate weeds, so to speak. If you have questions, we're going to handle these webinars. We do it a little bit differently. I don't want to wait till the end to answer your questions or to open it up for questions. So just keep your question at the top of your mind. If you want, you can put it in the Q&A, you can post it in chat, or even better and even preferred, raise your hand. There's a little button at the bottom of your screen. If you have a question at any time, raise your hand. We will stop periodically to answer your questions live. And I will unmute you. That way you can ask your question. That way everybody can see it and everybody can kind of hear what you are curious about. So it helps us be really engaging. And since we're building this program, it helps us keep you all really engaged, and it's going to help us continue to grow the program. So by way of introduction, I am Jessica Singer. I am the Director of Marketing and Originations here at Nectar. And the other person on the webinar is awesome Keith Lashir. He is the lead on our originations team. Keith is super knowledgeable. You have all probably talked to him or been on a call with the both of us. Super knowledgeable, tons of experience in the lending and origination space. So kind of from the mortgage standpoint, really great guy. And you will get all of your questions answered. I am 100% certain of it with Keith. So the high level affiliate program. The affiliate program here at Nectar, we exist to offer cash flow based financing for real estate owners and operators. So essentially, we're going to look at their 12-month trailing P&L, prefer 24-month, but we're going to evaluate their P&L. We're going to look to see how positive their cash flow is, and then we can advance to them based on what that cash flow looks like. So there's a whole process behind it. It isn't quite as simple as that, but we like to keep it as simple as possible for the clients. Biggest thing with Nectar is we can fund within 7 days for the first advance, and then on subsequent advances as quick as 24 to 48 hours. The best fits for Nectar, you will learn kind of throughout being an affiliate. You'll learn through the sales presentations. We have what's called an ICP. For everybody that doesn't know what that means ideal customer profile. Our ideal customer profile is pretty standard. Keith is going to get into that in a few minutes here. But a good fit as an affiliate essentially is all of you, of course. You are either lenders or brokers or realtors, you're influencers or investors. You might be an affiliate underneath a parent, or you might be a parent affiliate. Either way, our affiliates are very valuable to us here at Nectar. So we want to make sure that we compensate you, and we want to make sure that we build a really great, solid relationship with you. So we're here to answer your questions, and we're here to educate you. And we're also here to learn from you. So share anything with us that you feel would be helpful to help us grow the program. So without further ado, I'm going to kick it off to Keith so he can talk a little bit about who our ICP is, so you all know who to hunt for. And then he is also going to talk kind of in detail about our pref equity and our cash advance products. So once we are done doing that, we will actually open it up for questions. Sometimes our pref equity product, it opens the door to a lot of questions. So keep those questions in mind, don't forget them, and make sure that you raise your hand and ask that question. While Keith is talking, I'm going to push a poll live. So if you don't mind answering the questions on the poll, that would be super helpful for us just while Keith is talking. Go ahead, Keith.
All right, thank you, Jess. Well, hello, everybody. I'm sure I've talked with quite a few of you, and I will talk with all of you eventually. So definitely want to help you get all those deals to the finish line. So as you do look for those deals, it might be best to start off with who Nectar is not focused on. We're really not geared for that beginner who wants to get their first Airbnb or their first long-term rental. We're really looking more for your seasoned real estate pros. So investors, operators, property management companies, those individuals who ideally would have 3+ years of experience, but we will look at those on the up-and-comer side. If they have a 12-month trailing P&L, broken down monthly and including debt service, yes, that's a broken record with me, so I say it all the time, but that's the basis for all of our advances. So in addition to that, they have to act as a business. What I mean by that is they have to have an entity formed, typically an LLC. Nectar has to fund to a business. We're not a consumer loan. Also, they have to have a business bank account set up. So they really can't commingle their personal and their business. They have to be structured in a sense where they're acting like a business to qualify for our business loan. So those are the huge hurdles to overcome. Once we get past that, then we open up the doors for a lot of opportunity. So those people could be short-term operators, long-term operators, multifamily. We're getting involved with a lot of those great multifamily operators. We could even get into self-storage facilities. We've dabbled in hotels and motels. Really, any type of product that your client has that's backed by a real estate asset that generates its revenue by stabilized rents or leases. That's what we're looking for. Also, really important, they focus on the high ROI properties. So when you have your long-term rental guy that has one or two, they're probably not going to get to our minimum threshold, which is right around $1,500 a month of net cash flow. So if you're talking to someone and they say they're doing 500-600 a month of net cash flow, they're not there yet. But we don't want to push them aside. Of course, they could be a valuable client down the road for all of us, right? But $1,500 a month or more of net cash flow gets them into the conversation to meet our minimum advances. That's where they stand currently. But as you guys are on the call here, you probably know a lot of heavier hitters that are in more of that multifamily or larger project mode. We, like everyone else, wants to grow and move our product upline as well. So those advanced minimums may change, but for now, we do a $1,500 a month. So key number to think about when you talk with your clients. But also people that are really focused on growth. You know, I hate to say it, but when we have people that come to us that are begging for money to keep their business afloat, there's probably a good chance they're not going to be able to qualify because after all, they may be negative cash flowing. We need to see positive cash flow. Also, really not super geared towards the operator looking to focus just on their property that's going through a huge renovation or construction, because that property is not yet stabilized. It's not generating the cash flow we need. But always be creative when talking with them. Ask them about their overall portfolio. Let's always focus on the base stabilized portfolio because they may have entity A that's a really strong player. Let's leverage the cash flow from entity A to fund the project on entity B. So with our funds, there are no strings attached. They could use that money in a business sense across their whole entire portfolio. So we'll definitely get creative as possible to make a deal happen. And for those of you who have talked with me, you'll understand and know that we're not that square peg in a square hole like corporate America banking is. We want a way to find a way to get deals done for you. So there's nothing off the table. By all means, pick my brain and I'm going to pick yours and your clients as well so we can come to a resolution because we're all here to make money and close deals, right? Exactly. So big things, 3 years of experience, act as a business with the entity set up and the bank accounts, minimum $1,500 a month of net cash flow, high ROI properties, and also find the people that are excited to grow their business. That's the most fun part of my job is hearing their goals and dreams and us finding a way to make that happen. Then one of my favorite phrases, once we get them in the door, we have a lot of rinse repeat going on. We can fuel their growth in ways they probably haven't even thought of yet because they're not relying upon their savings. Nectar can be that reliable cash capital source for them. So growth is a great word. I'm sure you guys all agree. So I'll stop talking now, Jess. Fire away.
Oh, you're hilarious. No, I love that. That's all super good information. Let's open it up for questions. There must be some. And then I'm going to put you on the spot too, Keith, and we're going to talk a little bit about a question that comes up often. I always have affiliates ask me, like, how do you calculate the amount of an advance? Like, what can I tell my clients? Is there like a standard high level, kind of a quiet calculator? We're not going to publish a calculator. And then just keep in mind also, the calculations are difficult because there are so many factors involved in how we qualify someone for funding. Their annualized finance fee could be different. It certainly will be different, depending on the economics of their deal and what we uncover during underwriting process and due diligence. They might have a UCC lien. They might be more risky for us. So there really isn't a straightforward calculator. There are a lot of different ways we'll see affiliates kind of slice this up. But Keith, while I'm going to open it up for questions, if anybody has a question, I want you to raise your hand and then I'm going to unmute you. And I would love for you to, and I don't mean to put you on the spot. If you're uncomfortable with that, just post your question in the Q&A. But we love it when we have an engaging webinar with questions that are asked live. It really helps kind of keep the flow of the webinar. So go ahead and you raise your hand. I'll unmute you and you can ask your question live if anyone has one. And then while we're doing that, Keith, do you want to talk a little bit about kind of the calculator? And I know there's Josh, I know is on the webinar. He had this question this morning. I would love to make sure that we get him an answer. I didn't ignore you, Josh. I saw your email. I forwarded it to Keith and I said, let's talk about this. So we're going to answer it hopefully live. What are your thoughts there, Keith?
And Josh, just so you know, I talked with John earlier today. We went over this exact same exercise. It does come up a lot. And we
Yes.
basically had to create our own little math to figure it out to give you guys the high level ability to quote someone, because everything with us is proprietary. So we can't share the modeling. And even back in my mortgage days, I had a mortgage calculator. Everyone did, right? We all could figure out a 30-year amortized payment. You can't with Nectar. But what I tell people, and it's kind of one of the same stories I'll go for on all my calls. So let's say hypothetically your customer has $10,000 a month of cash flow. Simple numbers. The way to show them what their potential max advance would be on a Nectar 5-year term, just take whatever cash flow they tell you, again, net cash flow after debt service, simply multiply it by 22. Really simple. So in that example, $10,000 a month multiplied by 22 is 220 grand. That's pretty darn close to what they'll be able to get on a Nectar 5-year max advance. There are other terms, of course, but when you talk to people, they always want to know what's the max I could qualify for. Tell them 220. It's actually a little bit conservative, but we want to keep it that way for our own internal reasons, stress testing a little bit, recession, who knows, but let's keep it conservative. But that gives them a goal to say, great, I have 220 available, but maybe they want to take 100 grand. That's fully available. And we can always work the backward to get to the numbers they want. But in that same example too, tell this to your clients. If they do have 220 available and they take an advance for 100,000, there's nothing stopping them from coming back to us in 6 weeks, 6 months, and getting another 100 or 120 till they hit their ceiling. That money is always available to them. And as Jess mentioned earlier, second advances take 2-3 days, sometimes quicker. Nectar never charges any closing costs or points. So even though we're not a line of credit, we can function very similar to one. So a lot of your clients are going to love that as a consistent growing capital source. As they grow their business, their cash flow swells. Now their ability to lend with Nectar swells as well. So that gets you to the amount, the 220 of what they can get based upon their net cash flow. I'm sure you're also thinking, what's their payment going to be? So write this down separately so we don't get them confused. But on that $10,000 example, the max they're allowed to assign of their cash flow over to Nectar is 65% of that 10 grand. Simple math, that means $6,500 would be their monthly payment for the 5-year term to get 220 grand up front. Simple amortization, no balloons, no adjustability. Once they pay us off, we're done. And also no participation in any upside for those that use it for acquisitions. Take it one level deeper, and again, I'll handle this a more one-on-one if it gets confusing, because trust me, I know questions are there. We don't have any traditional prepayment penalties. A lot of hard money charges multiple points, which is expensive. Nectar has a buyback schedule, which everyone is free to have a copy of that with their quote, just have to ask. It's also given to them with the closing documents, so it's always shared. We always shoot for truth and transparency. But the buyback schedule is going to show them what it would take to buy back their cash flow at any given month throughout their term after a 3-month lockout period. They could buy it back in a year if they want to. But on the high level discussion, I also tell people that if you're looking at a 5-year term for the lower payment and are focused on paying it off earlier in 1 year, please bring that up and let's discuss it. Because the way the buyback work, it is a little bit front loaded on the first half, whereas on the second half, you could buy back your cash flow at a discount. We just don't want anyone to be set up to be frustrated, plain. We want to be truth and transparent always. So hopefully that information makes a bit of sense. But as you guys know, we're not an off-the-shelf 30-year product. So I try to educate both my affiliates and my clients. So there are no dumb questions. Raise your hands. You'll get me to stop talking for a minute. We can answer your questions. Just
You're totally
adapt. What
fine.
can I say?
Does anybody have any questions so far with what you've heard? I am going to go into a screen share in a few moments, and I will show you kind of the dashboard of the affiliate program, what you can expect there, your affiliate link and landing page, and really some of the really great tips and tricks. And then we'll kind of talk about some of our favorite and some of our biggest affiliates that are finding a lot of really great success and kind of what they're doing. So before I get into that, I'm going to go.
Well,
Keith
Jess,
has another
before
thing.
we get into
Yeah,
that, part of our webinar here is talk about pref equity. I went off on a tangent
yeah,
there about how to qualify rates. So let me cover pref equity so you guys understand how that works. So the
yes. Uh-oh.
basis for Nectar, right, is that same underwriting model. We leverage cash. Are you there? I'm here. All right, we're gonna
Yeah,
honor
you're
Jesse.
you got
Keep going.
you got a little choppy for a second there. So
Right. So the basis again for all of our underwriting is still the cash assignment agreement. Whether it's pref equity or whether it's a cash flow advance, it's the same underwriting. So that part doesn't change. Where pref equity really changes is that, especially for acquisitions, the client is now able to access their cash flow from their existing portfolio and use those funds as the down payment component for that first mortgage. So we work in connection with that first mortgage, not against them. Typically, when a lender sees a large deposit into a bank account prior to closing, big red flag gets raised because now they have to source and season the funds. Big denial factor right there. So how Nectar can get really around that is with pref equity, the client really is going to name Nectar as a preferred member in their entity. Simple addendum to the operating agreement. But we're very low level in that membership. There's no voting rights. There's no decision-making ability. There's no participation in any upside. We don't even list a percentage of ownership. So it's just really there in the legal sense to say now, in the lender's eyes, Nectar is an equity partner. We're not a debtor. Totally flips the script so they can use our funds for immediate use for the down payment. Fantastic program for all you realtors or those people out there that have clients that have been sitting on the sidelines because they don't have the down payment, but they have a strong portfolio. This could be a huge unlock for them to turn them into active buyers, which turns into more commission for you. Go through your database. You probably have people that would love to hear about this. That's how we get the word out. And then a lot of people are concerned about the recourse factor of how Nectar, makes sure ensures we get paid. Since we have no liens on a property, we have no trade lines on credit, so we are unsecuritized. The cash advance option is going to be just a personal guarantee. And also we can do a UCC filing on the entity. Nothing's on the property. With pref equity, now we're a member in the entity, just an extra level of recourse for us, a benefit to the client. They could use the funds for the down payment, which previously they can't. And also they're going to give 1% lower on the finance fee to help out. So there's an incentive there as well. So those are some of the benefits of it, but after all, it's the same calculation. Give me that 12-month trailing P&L broken down monthly, include debt service, and we'll get off to the races for you.
I love it. We've done this webinar so many times because we've done it once a week that Keith answers my questions before I even ask them. So thanks for making my job superbly easy today. You were
I'm here to help,
amazing.
Jess.
I love it. I love it. We make a great team. It's so cool. What questions does anybody have? Does anybody have any questions? I should say. I'm going to give it 3 seconds. Going once, going twice. All right, done. Sold. Moving on. Okay, so we're going to move on. No questions. We must be so good at our jobs that we have answered everything thoroughly, which makes me really happy too. But as Keith said, there are no dumb questions. So please make sure to ask them at any time. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now, and we're going to dive a little bit into what the actual structure of the affiliate program looks like, kind of behind the scenes. Can you see my screen okay, Keith?
Sure can.
All right, awesome. So you all know you've either signed up to be an affiliate, or we might even have some prospective affiliates out there that are just kind of curious how it works. If you're a prospective affiliate, go ahead and finish the application process to become an affiliate. It literally takes 30 seconds. All you really need is your logo, and then you will acknowledge the terms throughout that application process, which is very, very fast. And as soon as you're done, you will actually be assigned your very own fancy schmancy URL, which is found here. Yours will look a little different. I'm actually logged in here, so if I click log out, I'll have to go and log back in and it'll be a whole thing. But you will have a form here. This will be an example. This is an example of an affiliate page. So your affiliate landing page will have your logo, a little bit of information about you and your company, and then some of our benefits. And then as your clients scroll down, they'll see an example of how Nectar works, kind of how it works in like 3 steps, a little bit about what you can use the actual advance for. And there's a really cool video in here that I highly recommend you take a look at. Scroll through your affiliate page, familiarize yourself with it, understand what information is out there for your clients to access. And just as a super high level note, we will be revamping these pages. So as we've built our affiliate program and we've been fielding questions from affiliates, we are learning from you as well. So what we are going to do with what we're learning is we are going to make effective, positive changes for you as our affiliates, because we want to support you in the growth of your business for this affiliate program. So you'll see these pages revamped in the coming, I don't want to give a time frame because from a development standpoint, they would probably kick my butt. But I will say weeks to maybe a month or two. I'm hoping, maybe sooner. That's very vague. I realize that, but that's okay. So familiarize yourself with this page. Let us know what information it's missing. If you want us to add something, it may already be in the works. The dashboard itself, you will have access to logging into. The dashboard is going to give you the high level kind of overview of what you're doing. So you're going to have all subsidiaries. So these are your children. That's like, for lack of a better term, you're the parent, and then you may have children affiliates below you. So if you're a realtor, or you are a lender, or you are a broker, and you have a downline of additional brokers or other affiliates you want to be assigned underneath you that have clients also that they could refer over, add them in, introduce them to us. There's a number of different ways you can kind of slice this. You have a parent partner link that you can actually share with prospective affiliates that you may want to add as a child under you. This is the example of that page. This is a unique URL tied to you as an affiliate. So you could post this to LinkedIn, you could push it out to Facebook, you can send an individual email introduction to every broker in your downline. Do it quickly because Nectar is growing quickly. And I will give you this like super high level tidbit. Brokers seem to all kind of know each other. They all run in the same circles. So if you have brokers that you want to introduce to Nectar, because you know they have clients that would be a good fit for Nectar, don't hesitate. Just send the email introduction, because now there's a paper trail. Now it is in writing, and now that broker is part of your downline. So make sure you get those introductions over. Send it to me, Jess at usenectar.com, CC Keith at usenectar.com, or send them this link right here and they can sign up on their own. Other side note, this page will also get revamped, because I can very clearly see if I were a broker in somebody's downline and I received this page right here, I'd be like, who's Nectar? I don't know anything about Nectar. So you're going to see these pages be revamped so that they more similarly line up with what the actual affiliate pages look like as well. So your dashboard, kind of jumping back over here, you're going to see any subsidiaries. So those are your children brokers. Those are additional affiliates that are underneath you. And you're going to see any contacts they've pushed through and sent deals through on, and any applications that have been started that are associated with your downline. This is going to include any applications you yourself have pushed through from clients that are a good fit for Nectar. And then as well, any of those applications that are coming through from any of those subsidiaries in your downline. So you're going to see all of this here. And the really cool thing about this, I love this button right here. This is going to give you the high level of what they've completed. To submit an application, the biggest thing we need is their profit and loss with debt service. So you'll almost always see this on here. Hopefully you'll always see that. That means they've done their job in completing their application the correct way. But the cool thing about this little checklist here is this gives us the ability, or gives you the ability rather, to see where they're at in their application process. Because they're your client, you can actually help move this process along, because the closer we get to closing with them, the closer you get to earning your commission. So if you look at this checklist and it's, you see there's like 2 things missing, you can always send them an email or a text or however you communicate with them and just say, hey, I see you have an open application. It looks like you're missing a couple of pieces of information. Make sure you get that to Nectar, because Nectar's whole goal is to close for that very first deal within 7 days. We will move as quickly as the client moves. So if they're moving super slow, we're going to have to move super slow by default. If they want to move lightning fast and get all this information to us, we will move that fast. I have seen deals close in 24 hours. It is very common for us. It's more common and more the norm for us to close deals that rapidly than it is for us to take a long time. We don't want to take a long time because we have a lot of deals we're working, and we have a lot of affiliates we're paying commission to. So we really want to like move that ball along and keep that process going so we can cut you your checks and open up the door for your next deals to come through. If they have an advance open and we have actually funded them, you'll see that line item here as well. So you can kind of track what you're looking at as far as potential commissions go. And you'll just have an idea, that whole complete overall picture of what is going on with the deals you're referring over to us. So I'm going to hop into now the affiliate resource library. But before I do that, I want to also open it up for questions. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody want to raise their hand? Anything at all before I move into the next parts of the affiliate program? Going once, going twice. We have a lot of very quiet. Ooh, I got a hand raised. All right, Michael, I'm going to go ahead and allow you to talk. So just go ahead and unmute yourself, and then you can ask us your question live.
Just a simple question.
Sure.
Will there be a replay of this webinar? Because I have two associates that are busy doing other things. They need to see this as well.
Perfect. I will actually have a recording available within about 2 hours after the webinar's over. And for anybody that wants the recording, just go ahead and send Jess at Use Nectar an email and just put in the subject line, webinar recording request, something of that nature, and I will just email it over to you. So then you'll have it and you can share it with whoever you'd like to share it with.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then just to kind of tack on to that, y'all, I also think this affiliate resource library could use a whole other box here for recorded webinars. I think it would be an awesome resource. Do you think, Keith, maybe we should add something like that here?
I was just thinking why we don't have them available at this time. So yes, put that on your task list.
Okay, I will add it to my ever-growing task list. We will add a link here. So you'll probably see that in the next week here. It's been on my mind. It's just, I've got a million other things like everybody does that we're all working on. So I will get that added to this affiliate resource library for you. So resource library, when you are done signing up, you receive a welcome kit. If you've gotten that email and you haven't looked at it, open your email and dig through it, because there are numerous very important links within that email that you can use as resources to help you push Nectar out to your prospective clients or additional affiliates that you may have, or any of your resources. This particular library gives you access to the partner guide, which actually will have templates for emails. If you want to put an email together and send it out to prospective clients, knock yourself out, there are templates in there. You can just copy and paste them, super easy. It gives you access to flyers and one-pagers, our sales presentation. So you always know kind of high level what Nectar is all about. If we make a change to a product or we add an additional product, you can expect those will be updated in here. So you always know, coming to this resource library, you're going to have the most relevant, accurate, latest information available. So one thing I caution is, if you come in here and you download these flyers and one-pagers as a PDF, and then you never come back into the resource library, you might be distributing information that could be stale. So I always encourage you to come into here, download it from here, and send it same day or next day. Don't download it and then use that same PDF for the next month or two, because we are growing rapidly here at Nectar and we evolve very quickly. So we are constantly making changes to those flyers and one pagers. So this is your source of truth for the best, most accurate, up-to-date information you can find. So you can scroll through here, access anything you need. The asset library is super cool. I'm going to just share that with you also here. There's the partner guide I referenced with some of those email templates. You can literally just copy and paste. The asset library itself has a folder in here for social media ads. This is super cool, and we have seen a lot of affiliates use this to the nth degree. So you can open this folder, you can download these ads. There are tons of them: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. You can use them for all the social media kind of channels that you may be involved in. We've seen people take these and push out full PPC campaigns. We've seen people push out LinkedIn ads or Facebook ads, embed them in an email or a newsletter. You can use these however you choose. There are banners, and then there are also just kind of standard sizes for the different, you'll see kind of how they're labeled up top. This is standard sizing for Instagram. So take these and use them however you wish. You educate yourself with them, whatever you want to do with them, they're there for you. And our team created these specifically for you to use to help you build your affiliate program. And you will see additional ones be added. We are going to add a folder for lender facing ones. We have a lot of affiliates that are lenders now. And we do need some ads in here that really they come more from the angle that a lender would take. So you'll see some updates to this frequently. So check back as frequently as you'd like. One pagers, here's an example of what one of those one pagers looks like. It's funny, I do call it a one pager, but it is actually 2 pages, so don't laugh. But it's front, back, and then the front of the next one. We will be continuously evolving these as well. But this is the high level, the difference between the cash advance product and the pref equity product, a list of some of those documentation requirements. You can download this and share this with a client that maybe has additional questions. But look at these really cool benefits. So these are also really great ways that you can actually educate yourself. Different use cases that Nectar is used for, and our benefits. We are very, very proud of these benefits. Nectar is like no other product I've ever seen. It's like nothing else available out there. So a few of those, and then just hopping into the sales presentation, kind of a repeat of the information you saw on the one pager, though less condensed in the sales presentation. A lot of people prefer just having kind of a PowerPoint that they can go over with a client. There are embedded videos in here, so there's a lot more information. Our process and what we require to get started, really good to review that. Our ICP, so this is our ideal customer profile, exactly what they need to have in place in order to qualify. Of course, those benefits repeated, use cases, the difference between cash advance, pref equity, testimonial video, testimonial quote, an example of what your preliminary term sheet would look like. And then just simple how it works, step 1, 2, 3. So that is really the affiliate program in a nutshell, and what you are going to get and the types of resources we have in the background. I have a question from Joel. So Joel, if you are there, I'm going to go ahead and click to allow you to talk, and then you can ask your question live. All right, go ahead and unmute yourself, Joel. You are free to talk.
Yeah, quick question on your affiliate program. If we have referral partners and affiliates in, say, an Excel spreadsheet, are you guys able to upload that instead of, if it's a large amount, instead of putting them all in individually?
We can do that, actually. There is a spot. Let me actually find it. I think we just added this too. Let me go into...
Well, Joel, I have a question for you on
Yes.
that, because we have had this brought up before, and it does seem like a lot of the people in the hard money world or capital brokers know each other and all have lists of people they refer business to. But it's probably going to be frowned upon just to get a list of everyone you know and try to claim them as your downline. We have to have some buy-in from them. But if you make an introduction to them and they're on your list and we see that inbound flow where, yes, I talked to Joel and I want to sign up, absolutely. Because I do know I have one large player in the space who tried to give us a list of over 200 brokers and want to claim all of them for him, which he hasn't probably talked to a lot of them in months. Right. Little greedy, don't get me wrong. So we want to give everyone a fair shot. but the ones that are doing really well are the ones that are doing blast outreach to their guys, and who responds and they get it in front of me, then they're absolutely, you made that introduction. I did not find them myself. And I want to
So
get
it
you
would
credit.
probably be better to use one of these email templates and do
Yeah.
an email introduction first, and then kind of who's responding then at that point, put them in there.
Yep.
I
Absolutely.
agree.
You can do an email intro, just CC Keith and I. Keith is super busy. He's been very bogged down because we do have another, like several affiliates that are actively doing introductions right now to hundreds of people in their downline. And so they're all signing up as affiliates as well. So we are fielding all of those emails as quickly as possible. So just make sure you loop me in as well. Jess at Use Nectar, Keith at Use Nectar, and we will field those. It's basically, once you have that in writing, that you're introducing that broker to us, nobody else really can claim them at that point because they are now associated with you. So if ever there's a question down the road and you have 3 other parents that are trying to claim that one broker, if you've got those big players, I cannot even express enough. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. Some of our big players and what they're doing and what's working and what's not working. Keith will kind of get into the nuts and bolts of that in just a second, but man, it is wild out there. How many recommendations we're getting, how many email introductions, and how quickly those email introductions turn into affiliates, and then that turns into deals, and then that turns into commission checks. I just watched a $22,000 commission check get cut for one affiliate. It was his quarterly check, and he really only had sent us a couple of deals, but they were pretty high dollar value deals. So you can see how quickly this program can result in like a very strong residual income stream for affiliates and their clients, or affiliates and their downline rather. So here though, I just showed my screen again too here, Joel. This is where you would import from a CSV. So if you did have several, like maybe you do a webinar internally and you've got 30 people on it, you could then take that webinar list and just pop in here everybody that you kind of got confirmation from that wanted to be a part of the program and part of your downline. You could just import that CSV here pretty easily.
See, what we're trying to avoid is doing, we don't want to create landing pages and affiliates for these people because they have to personally go in and acknowledge the agreement. So we just can't blindly sign people up. That's
sure. Do you guys,
and
are you guys also covering the comp piece?
Go ahead.
The compensation? Keith. Yeah, I'll cover everything. I'm an open book here. So if you want, let me jump into some of the best practices for some of the guys that are really killing it out there for us. The biggest thing is everyone's got to take action, right? It's always that same 80-20 rule in life. Everyone gets excited, but not everyone takes action on it. So some of our best ones, which I just got an email from him right now, he wants to do another round of introductions. So once anyone on this call is signed up as an affiliate, you're all going to have access to that parent referral link. That is going to be your best friend to get the word out. So now, Joel, in your example, you have control of signing up the person. I don't have to be involved. It's all automated. So you could send that out to a blast of 1,000 people if you want, with the link to your affiliate page. They get the exact same experience. They might not even know that they're an affiliate of you, but you're getting a piece of their pie. And I'll explain that here in a second. So everyone gets the same experience, same landing page, same dashboard, same 1% as earned, so revenue share. So every payment they make to us, you guys get paid 1% as earned, paid quarterly. It's kind of the residual aspect. Once you start proving yourself to us, typically after a deal or two, we could then bump you up internally to a distribution partner. Then we can potentially, which we are going to be paying you the same 1% on the back and 1% up front on your personal deals. So then you're going to get paid up front and paid residuals. Now where it gets really attractive in our own little mini version of multi-level marketing, it's only one level deep, but still everyone you introduce as you being the parent, them being the child, just your downline, you're going to get 0.5% origination as earned, your residual component, then 0.5% upfront as well. We haven't got the signed stamp approval from the owners, but that's the direction we're going in. So therefore, you're going to get a little piece of the pie off all of your downline's deals. And then eventually your downline person, they love the program. They want to introduce their own broker so you haven't connected with. They'll still get their option to have that their child affiliate. Since it only goes one level deep, we could do that into free, right? So that's an option for everyone to really get the word out. So how people are doing it. A couple guys are huge on LinkedIn. They'll do an educational post introducing not Nectar, because if they say Nectar, they may go around you and come to me directly, right? So you want to capture that. They post their own parent landing page in the ad. So people are signing up just 24 hours a day. They see it, they like it, they click yes, let's do it. Or to find out more, that's all we need. We'll take care of the rest, being that it's automated. Also, they're doing email blasts. They pick my brain a little bit, like we're all doing today, get some bullet points, create their own email, blast it out to their database in chunks to introduce a new product to all their clients and other brokers out there. Well, guess what? No one is doing what Nectar is doing. No one does cash flow assignment lending for real estate. You're going to get people's interest very quickly, and that email has your landing page to sign in and sign up. So we're getting typically literally met one guy on Friday. We probably have 30, 40 brokers signed up. And he just emailed me. He wants to do another round on it. I have to tell him, slow down, buddy. I'm a little busy right now. But you can't fault
Tell
his
him to send them all
enthusiasm.
my way. I'll help him get them all set up.
You guys have to understand, you're getting involved with Nectar. That's a 2-year-old company that's breaking new ground in this space. Jess and I have only been on the team 6 and 7 months respectively, and we're the first salespeople here. So we haven't really marketed our product in general as much as it needs to be, but also the affiliate program, we've really hit it hard maybe the last 2-3 months, the last month really hard. And that's where we're getting all the traction and why we're doing these webinars once a week, because the demand is there. So the ability for you guys to get out there and gobble up market share, get those people signed up as underneath you, who knows, in 6 months, you could be thinking back, this could have been one of the best decisions of your career, because now you're having free passive income because you open the door to somebody else through Nectar. And that means I close more deals for the company. We get paid as well. We want you guys to be compensated and appreciated. I'll say that over and over again. We don't get paid on those. We want you to get paid.
So that brings up another question that I get often, and we've heard this on a lot of the calls that we've done, whether it's a sales call or a marketing call. Tell me what the difference is between, or like why we compare to MCAs or better than MCAs, MEZ, SBA loans, DSCR. There's so many different categories that I hear, and Nectar seems to be this like really amazing alternative to all of those other opportunities out there. Can you talk to me a little bit about that, Keith, so that everybody on the call can kind of understand that also?
Well, sure. The biggest thing is when you tell your clients that we're never going to ask them for their social, that's interesting. How they do this? Well, guess what? They're the only ones allowing you to leverage your future cash flow off stabilized property to get capital today. Really going to raise some eyebrows. No one's saying this verbiage out in the industry. Also going to be able to tell them capital you have is no strings attached. We're not going to force you to lend on entity A and fund entity A. You could lend on entity A and fund any property you want in your portfolio. You could take the money from entity A and go buy a property international if you want. There's no limits to that. So it really gives people a very creative option. Where we hear a lot from our brokers is, where have you been all my life? I have lenders that are begging for secondary financing because that market is crunching right now. MEZ is hurting. They're looking for options. So which frustrates me too, because we're having to turn down a lot of $3 and $5 million deals because they're seeking options out there that they just can't find. I can't go above 2 million yet. But if you hit the bullet,
yes, we'll say yet right now.
We're trying to get there. We have investors beating down our door to start working with us because we're getting a lot of traction. We're getting mentions on things like Bigger Pockets and unpaid advertising because the word is spreading. But we're not really advertising tremendous amount ourselves. That's why we're putting our marketing money into our affiliate program. But just in that marketing library that Jess showed earlier, just get to know the basics. Leveraging future cash flow for today's capital, unsecuritized, no trade lines on credit, so there's no debt ratio implication. That's a huge green flag right there. We're not on title. We're not going to affect an SBA loan. We're never a percentage in their entity. These are all things that these people are not familiar with. So by you just hitting a few bullet points, get their attention, refer them over to me, I'll take care of the rest. That's what I'm paid to do, is help you close deals. But just
And
getting their
really just,
attention, you'd be amazed how many people will respond and say, what are you talking? Tell me more. Got it.
yeah, and high level, I want to just interject 1 second there, make sure everybody knows. Don't necessarily refer them to Keith, push them through your affiliate landing page. That is a really, really big deal, and something we have learned immensely from. If you refer them to Keith and Keith is busy tackling all of these other affiliate calls and emails, that person, they're not going to get forgotten about. They're just going to be buried in the shuffle of hundreds of other emails he's dealing with. So the best way to get the quickest attention, if you have a client that needs funding, push them through your affiliate landing page. Doesn't matter whether they fill the information out or whether you fill it out on their behalf while you have them on the horn. Get them on a call, start talking through the parts of the application, fill it out while you're on the call, and submit it. And then it gets into our priority list, and it actually goes into a totally different area in our system that is priority. So it's priority over those emails. So don't send it via email.
And it's tied to you. So it's going to say affiliate referral. It's going to say Josh or John or Joel. So I know, hey, guess what? Those get priority over a lead that I have coming from our pay-per-click ad, because we have those too. Yep. Trust me, I want to make sure my affiliates are happy and successful.
Exactly. So I'm going to open it up for questions one more time before we end the webinar. We are a little bit over time. I originally had these scheduled for an hour, and then we blew through them quickly and had a couple with not a lot of questions. So then we moved it to 45 minutes, and now I'm over time. And I am just so sorry that we're a few minutes over. But any other questions out there? I know there's a few people on there that have asked me questions via email. So I was hoping you all would ask your questions on the webinar, hint, hint. Go ahead, like going once, going twice, ask away, just hit the little raise your hand button. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up and give everybody the rest of their, the top of the hour back here. Anything else? Any other questions? Go ahead and email after the webinar. If you think of something, you can email me, Jess at usenectar.com. So JESS at usenectar.com, and Keith, KEITH at usenectar.com. Send us an email. Let us know what you need. We're here to help you grow your program. Send your referral friends over, add them to your parent partner link page. Let's grow this together. And again, let us know what questions you have. We're here to help. It was so wonderful meeting all of you, somewhat virtually. We're stoked to have you part of our program. Welcome to the team.